So, my dear ones, how wonderful it is to be with you here on this splendid day in this wonderful place, the South Bay, Redondo Beach, and alive and intentional and ready for what it is, whatever that is, that Spirit has in store for us by means of what it is it wants to convey to us right now. Who knows until it happens, really. So we're continuing in this understanding and this awareness of what it is to live an intentional life and to have a more full grasp on what intention is. And the way we're looking at intention, to recap from last week, is to see intention as a power, as a force in the universe that moves. And when it moves, it always creates. It's always moving, so consequently, it's always creating. And you and I are part of that movement, of the divine intent for all of its life. And very often, it surprises us the way it shows up. Really it does, as it surprised us this week. This week, we've gone through sad times because we had a sudden and unexpected departure from our midst that we certainly were not expecting. Our beloved, wonderful Aureen made her transition on Thursday night. As you know, or may not, Aureen is the mother of Reverend Aaron, and Reverend Aaron was in the hospital with an infection, and Aureen went in to take her home, and as they were getting into that process, Reverend Aaron had an experience of her own that was unexpected. She had a stroke, and her mom was there with her. And so they were taking care of Reverend Aaron and so on and so forth. And when everything was done and she was going down to intensive care, everybody there recommended that Aureen go home and rest up and come back in the morning because her mother always was with her, sit and vigil with her daughter naturally. They're very close, as those of you who may know their relationship know that. They're very close indeed. And Reverend Aaron just said to me recently how wonderful it was for her to have all this wonderful chatter and talk with her mom and really get to know her mom at so much a deeper level and hear all about her life and so forth. And they certainly enjoyed each other's company. And so Aureen went home and, did the regular things, had a long conversation with one of the cousins that night, went to bed, and she laid herself down to sleep and kept sleeping and moved on into the next experience, and she was found at 4 o'clock in the morning like this. Beautifully, peacefully at rest. So we have a situation whereby, of course, our good Reverend Aaron is doing exactly what I knew she would be doing, is recovering. She's made remarkable gains and steps in 3 days, remarkable. But the family has decided that at this time, she ought not to be told about Aureen because, get her established first and up and stronger before she hears that news, because it's going to be a surprise. But I have a feeling somehow within me she kind of already knows, and I'm knowing my money is on Reverend Aaron, that she'll take that too in her stride. But I'm telling you all of this because I would like us all to know for her strength and her power and her tenacity and her recovery, however that happens. And, it's always early days. All I know is that Reverend Aaron is a very powerful force in the universe, and whatever she decides is going to happen. So if she decides to fully recover, that's exactly what she'll do. If she decides to fully recover and go on, and meet up with her mom again, she'll do that too. We don't know. We never know. This is not a sad thing. This is not a bad thing. This is a normal thing. It happens all the time. And as Ernest Holmes says, you and I can't be morbid around this. We must stop being morbid about somebody going into their glory. I mean, yes, we will be sad and very sad, and God knows I've been very sad, and I've shed many a sad tear since I heard it all. The humanity of myself will suffer great loss at Aureen. There's a little vacant spot on my desk because Aureen kept my desk filled with flowers every single day. And even when the good Reverend was in hospital, she'd come in Sunday morning and she put those flowers on my desk and loved and enjoyed to do it. It was her joy to do that. In fact, very recently, Reverend Erin came in with a picture of Aureen sitting in front of the flowers here on the steps and said, "My mum would love you to have that." Well, that's where the flowers used to be now. Aureen sitting by her beautiful orchids. And so I will be reminded every day of that loss amongst us, but will be giddy with delight for her in her newfound glory, because she's been wanting to take off for a while now, and she's only been hanging around, to keep the good Reverend company. And she, said to me not quite long ago, she said, "I've told Erin, you have until I'm 100, and then I'm gone." Because unfortunately or fortunately, she began to see the doctor about 18 months ago. It wasn't to her liking one bit. She didn't like what the doctors wanted to give her and have her on pills and so on. And she didn't like the feeling that she was on pills, nor did she like the feeling that she was getting a little tired here and there and couldn't do everything she always did until she was, 97 and a half. She thought she could have the same spryness then. So whatever reason it was that she took off when she took off, I know it was a very important reason, and it was a good reason, and there was a whole lot of good that will come out of that. So we will keep you informed with regard to how Reverend Erin is, and no individual cards to her yet. I will be giving her a big card from us all, and we'll keep you informed. And if you have any questions or anything like that, always refer the questions to the office here. We will have information as time goes on, because the family are just acclimatizing to this. The cousin and the nephew were in over the weekend, and she's a very small family, Reverend Erin, of blood relatives. She has a very large family when it comes to us, and we are her family. We truly are her family now, especially. And Aureen would have us all, know that. She certainly would. And so the power of intention in that woman was very evident for a long time in Aureen, what she intended and so forth. And so, my dear ones, we must be grateful for every breath we breathe and every moment we have and every day that's given to us. Like Aureen, I never heard one negative word come out of that woman's lips. And she told me that about 30 years ago or 40 years ago, 50 maybe years ago, she came across it. So time goes by so quickly. She came across Norman Vincent Peale and positive thinking, the power of positive thinking, and it changed her life. She said it changed her life, and she stuck to that way of thinking all the rest of her life. And so, therefore, consequently, she was a purposeful woman, an intentional woman, and absolutely lived a beautiful life as a consequence of that. So, back for you and for me with regard to the power of intention, what we are asked to look at today, and that book is a phenomenal book and it's full of the wisdom of the ages. We're asked to look at the facets of intention, the aspects, the character of intention, and what that means to you and what that means to me now. And when you look at the breakdown that Dr. Wayne Dyer presents to us, the number one begins with creativity. When it comes to intention, creativity, you and I have to understand that we are living in a field of creativity as creativity ourselves, creators ourselves in a field of creative energy. That's what we all are. So creativity is a very big part of understanding intent, because we're in a vibrational field that if you and I could see it, if we could see the field of intention, there is a field out there beyond wrong ideas and right ideas. I'll meet you there, said Rumi. I'll meet you there. And the you he's talking about is unified life. Is unified life the one thing, the one experience? Now, if you could see it and I could see it, what we would be seeing only seeing is life and light and love and peace and beauty and power and joy and goodness and kindness and grace and all that is of a unifying nature of being, a harmonious nature of being. You would not find a speck of negativity in it. You wouldn't find anything like hatred and malice and bitterness and resentment and competition and competitiveness and unforgiveness and laziness and all the rest of it, and anger and vengeance. None of that will be in it. It doesn't belong there. That's a human construct. So if you and I could actually see it, and believe it or not, as I was just sitting behind my desk thinking about it, I could see all these waves of energy. Sometimes when your eyes play tricks on you, you can see various and sundry. Everything on the one particular spot in the desk was vibrating and moving in waves. And I thought, there go the eyes again, and I blinked and so on. But no, it wasn't the eyes. It was just energy showing up. I said, oh my gosh, that's what it is. That's what we're living in. Nothing is still and static. Nothing is still and static. It's all movement. It's all energy. It's all vibration. It's all, that sense of something happening. And it was it was an ordinary moment and an ordinary experience. I said, oh yeah, okay, that's it. That's kind of what it must be like. So that field within it has only the good and the whole and the wholesome, the unifying aspects of life and living and energy and all of that. So I will ask you and I will ask myself, is that the field we think we're living in our homes, in our workplaces, wherever we are? Is that the sense we get? That, oh my gosh, I'm sitting now in my home now and it's this beautiful field of unified energy. Life and light and love and peace and beauty and power and goodness and kindness and creativity. Is that what I'm sitting in? I don't know, but I don't think about that very often. Usually when I sit down at home, it's, oh, I get to sit down. This is lovely, you see. But I tell you, with this kind of study that we're doing now together, I'll be more cognizant of the energy wherever I am. And we are called to be aware of those three things: energy, energy, energy. How is your energy? How is the energy where you are? What is that feeling like? Because energy feels. We're not talking about looking and seeing. What does it feel like? What does my energy within me feel like now? What does my energy around me where I am feel like now? And if it doesn't feel good, and if it feels low and sluggish, then I have the power to change that. I have the power to bring my energy up, and when I bring my energy up, I will bring the energy up around me. It's like the example he uses is if you go into a dark room, it has a very different energy to walking into a room flooded with light. It's a whole different energy. When you walk into a room flooded with light, it's very different to walking into a dark, dingy room. And so he uses that analogy. If you take a little match and you light a match in a dark, dingy room, every aspect of the room is filled with light. It may be a dim light to begin with, but every part of the room is touched by the light. And the darkness, the deep darkness, is dispelled. So you and I have little switches on us, energy switches. High, low, and medium. And I want to be at the high. But if I can't just get myself there, at least I'm going to go to medium until I breathe myself a bit higher and can switch the high one, the high button. So remember, you are a field of creativity, living in a field of creativity. And you can choose to live affirmatively creative in whatever you are, wherever you are, however you are or not. It's like Torah's saying, we live in a field of intelligence, as intelligence, operating intelligently or not, unintelligently as the case may be. So what is it going to be? You have the master key to your own life and living. No one else has it. Others may have keys to your life and living, but they don't have the master key. You have the master key, and that has the power. So instead of sitting around and okoning and kvetching and doing all of that, because okoning is the Celtic word for kvetching. So you can sit around and kvetch or ocone or do whatever you want to and bemoan the fact that you're not a this and you're not a that and you are the this and you are the that and so on. Or you can say, you know what, I'm a field of energy operating in a field of energy, and now I'm called to operate intelligently as creative energy. Or not. So don't be whining and moaning and groaning and belly aching to any of us who know this, because we're not going to have any sympathy for you, none whatsoever. In fact, we'll never have any sympathy for you, no matter what. We will have empathy, but we'll never have any sympathy for you. So you'll be wasting your sweetness on the desert air when you moan and groan and kvetch to one of us. Because we know differently. We'll say to you, gosh, oh golly gee, I am so sorry that you find yourself in that situation. Now what are you going to do about it? Because you have a choice. How are you going to resolve it? How are you going to move yourself into solution? Because I'll be very happy to help you move into solution, but I'm not going to sit down and moan and groan and bellyache and agree with you at this level of awareness. I will not. Now that's what you would say to a friend, a deep, close friend. With everybody else, you'll be very accommodating and listen with respect, and then move upon whatever it is that you're inspired, the way to help the other person. But you know, we need to be told the truth by the people who love us in a wonderful way. Not in that kind of a way, but in a wonderful way. The power of intention is absolutely essential in your life and in my life with regard to how our lives are. And you and I are called to pay attention to it. Are you intentional? Are you purposeful? Are you directing the course of your life? Are you sitting back and letting any old thing, person, place, or thing do it for you? Because that's very dangerous. And the results are never hotsy-totsy, I can tell you that. So move into your director's chair. Move into your director's chair. And stop sitting in the back chair there where you're being ignored all the time by life itself, because you're ignoring yourself. And life will respond to you by corresponding to you. Get right up there into that director's chair. Pick up your bullhorn and direct your life. All of its aspects. Say to that aspect over there, I don't think so. You're out of Dodge. Yeah, I'm ready for you to come in now. It's time for you to come in. This is your part to play now. You know, if you don't do it, do you understand somebody else will be very happy to do it, and badly. And very badly. So you take responsibility, Moira, for your own life, and stand tall in the sovereignty that's been given to you in a humble, very humble manner. And get on with the job that you're here to complete. And stop all the nonsense of I can't and I haven't and only in you and I think I'm going to bed. Cover my head and stay there till Sunday. You know, lazy, you know, where will you get up? We used to have that. Lazy Mary, will you get up on a cold and frosty day? So it's children's rhymes. But you know, what is it going to be? I can only ask you the question, what do you want your life to be, and what are you doing about it? And who are you being about it? Because who you're being about it is what you're doing about it. And if you're being this creative power, this creative field of energy, the sovereign entity that has all power available to it, and you know it, and you're jazzed about it, and you look at your condition and you say, ha, 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 you don't get to win, because I am taking that which is powerful and awesomely more powerful than you are to you, so you better get down on your knees and pray, because you're on your way out. You're on your way out. I don't think so. What do you let into your life? Any old negative thing? What are you letting into your life? Any old negative thought, any old negative feeling, You know, oh sure, come and have your way with me, you know, because I'm just not equal to this, I'm not able for that, I'm not strong enough and not able enough, I haven't got enough. And we are so pathetic when we get into that stage and phase of presenting ourselves. Now you get to do that when you're in the company of a practitioner, and I don't really mean only licensed practitioners. Anybody in your life who's a practitioner and knows more than that, and knows that you are more than that. You're not going to like it when people won't sympathize with you and won't feel sorry for you and won't get down to that level of low energy and agree with you. You're not going to like that. You're going to think they're cold, they're awful, they're mean. How could they? And I'm so upset. That's what you're going to think in the beginning. Your ego is. That's what your ego will respond to. And the thing is, this is the third thing we have to look at. What was it that we were asked to look at last week? To take care of our inner talk and not allow our inner talk to be tyrannical. We have to take care of what we're feeling, our energy field, see how it's doing. And we were to take care of what's going on in the realm of the ego or in the realm of self-importance. Self-importance can be a positive or a negative thing. So those are the three areas. When everything seems to be going wrong around you, look at that. Okay, let me see. What's my inner talk been like for a while? How has my energy been for a while? How is it now? And how am I doing with regard to the realm of ego? Is ego ruling the roost? Has my sense of who I am become distorted? Has the sense of what I am become distorted? Have I forgotten who I am and what I am? My goodness me, my dear ones, all power is yours. All power is given to you. You have all power available to you. Why aren't we using it? And I know very well when I'm not using that, when I've forgotten that, when I don't know that. The only thing that takes us out of that pure intent is our forgetfulness, our spiritual amnesia, when we've gone into separation and we see ourselves as an isolated being. So here's the thing. What kind of game is the game of your life? Is it the game of the fighting, clashing egos? Is that the game you're playing? Or is it the game of life as individualized expressions of the all-power of the creator of our being that is a unifying experience? The clash of the egos, which is a separating experience of life, and a dissonant experience of life and a negative experience of life, or the individualized expressions of all life as each one of us and everything else as well that unifies and harmonizes and brings everything together beautifully. It's beautifully orchestrated. So what is it going to be? I mean, we won't know unless we're asking ourselves these questions. When did you ask yourself those questions last? When did you last ask yourself the question, what kind of game of life am I playing? And if you have forgotten it, get out Florence Scovel Shinn's book again, The Game of Life and How to Play It, because it is a game. Some of us are snoring on the bleachers. Some of us are down there, and not only are we playing, but we're playing center field. And all the various shades in between. Where are you just now? It doesn't matter where you are, because if you don't like it, you can change it. Absolutely, you can change it. That's the power of you. Dr. Bitzer always signed every book he ever signed for anybody with, all power is yours. Robert R. Bitzer. All power is yours. Every time. That's all he would say. All power is yours. All power is yours. The rest is up to you. And the rest is up to you. So I'm knowing for each and every single one of us here in this room today that something has clicked, something has clicked, something has clicked, and we are changed by what has clicked. And we are raising that button up from low to high, or from medium to high energy. And we're going to go through those doors as the spinning reds of points of power and light and energy in our lives and in the lives of all those who touch us and in all life. And as a consequence, we're raising it all up. So to God be the glory in and through and by means of you, always and forever, because it is God's delight to be you as you. That's why you're here. That's your purpose. That's your intent. And so it is.